Yuriy, BBC News.
Well, let's return to that breaking news that Russia is claiming it now controls the whole of the Lugansk region in eastern Ukraine. Well, I'm joined now by Yuriy. He's the spokesman for the Ukrainian Ministry of Defence. And thank you so much for joining us. Now, we're hearing in the last few minutes these Russian claims that troops have full control over Lysychansk. What's your understanding of the situation out there?
Thank you for inviting me. We've been hearing these claims actually from yesterday, and these claims have not been confirmed yet by the Ukraine's General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, neither by the local administration and authorities. What we can say with certainty, of course, is the situation in Lysychansk has been very intense for quite a while now. After the battle for Severodonetsk, Lysychansk was the key focus of the Russian offensive. Their ground forces have been attacking Lysychansk non-stop. The city was under intense artillery fire, missile fire, bombardments, aerial bombardments. So, and like we've always been saying, and our Minister of Defense confirmed it a few days ago, for Ukrainians, the value of human life is top priority. So sometimes we may retreat from certain areas just so that we will retake them in the future.
And there are other claims that Russia is encircling Ukrainian troops or encircling the town itself. What's your take on that?
Trying to encircle Ukrainian troops in the east of Ukraine, in the area of Lugansk and Donetsk region, has been Russia's tactics pretty much from the very beginning of this aggressive war. And of course, they've very often claimed that they've almost completed an encirclement, but very often these claims have not been corroborated. So at the moment, we can say that the city is still not under full control of the Russian armed forces. And, as for the encirclement, they, of course, are trying to achieve that, but Ukrainian armed forces are resisting very heroically and are very determined not to allow this to happen.
Now, if Russia does take Lysychansk, the last major stronghold in the Luhansk region, is that game over in the Donbass?
This will by far not be the game over for the Donbass area, because as you know, there are other large cities in Donbass area, in particular in Donetsk region, including Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. These are cities which are now controlled fully by the Ukrainian armed forces. And of course, these are cities as well, which are and have been for the last couple of days targets of very severe missile attacks, artillery shelling. In particular, today in the morning, there have been reports that there was a missile strike on Kramatorsk. Slavyansk is being under artillery shelling every day, but the battle for Donbass is not over yet. Ukraine is hopeful and continues to receive military support from our Western allies. And sooner or later, we will accumulate a sufficient number of heavy artillery and other types of weaponry that will allow us to go on counteroffensive and liberate our lands, and not just the Donetsk and Lugansk region, but also other parts of Ukraine which are temporarily occupied by these war criminals and aggressors.
And just finally, while we still have you, turning to Belgrade, what's your response to the Russian accusation that Kyiv fired missiles there?
We've lost count how many times during the past couple of months something would happen in Belgorod, and Russians would immediately claim and accuse Ukrainian army of conducting strikes. Now, we have seen before, and our security service has actually many times intercepted phone calls between the Russian servicemen, which prove that sometimes, most often, these types of activities are the actual provocations by the Russian side themselves. So while there is no official confirmation on the Ukrainian side of particularly what has happened there, and what we can say is in the past, we have seen similar explosions, and they have been the result of Russian provocations, which they carry out themselves.
And just in terms of, you mentioned Western support there. In terms of weapons assistance, do you have enough? Does Ukraine have what it needs at the moment?
We are receiving very important assistance, systems such as HIMARS, MLRS systems, heavy artillery cannons, howitzers, and they are being used very, very efficiently on the front lines already, which allows Ukrainian forces, for example, a few days ago, we were able to liberate the strategically important Snake Island in the Black Sea. But our president, Mr. Zelensky, as well as our minister, Oleksiy Reznikov, continue to repeat that for Ukraine to be able to stop this war sooner, for Ukraine to be able to protect Europe, first of all, from the Russian aggression and from the spread of this invasion further west, we need more heavy weaponry, we need more of these systems, multi-rocket launch systems, air defense systems, tanks, aircraft, and we need them more and in larger quantities, of course.
OK, thank you very much, Yuriy speaking there as spokesman for the Ukrainian Ministry of Defence.